Come see us on tour. We're going to be in Baltimore, Hartford, Connecticut, Syracuse, Atlantic City, Levittown, New York, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. So now J.D. Vance really gave it to him. J.D. Vance's speech at the Munich Security Conference shocked European leaders and the D.C. establishment when he slammed European countries for their extreme censorship laws and violations of basic civil liberties. And so let's watch. Here we go.
I look to Brussels, where EU commissars warn citizens that they intend to shut down social media during times of civil unrest the moment they spot what they've judged to be, quote, hateful content. Or to this very country, where police have carried out raids against citizens suspected of posting anti-feminist comments online as part of, quote, combating misogyny on the internet, a day of action. I look to Sweden, where 2 weeks ago the government convicted a Christian activist for participating in Koran burnings that resulted in his friend's murder. And as the judge in his case chillingly noted, Sweden's laws to supposedly protect free expression do not, in fact, grant, and I'm quoting, a free pass to do or say anything without risking offending the group that holds that belief.
You can't offend. It's illegal to offend people in Europe. I don't know how we did our tour there and got away with it. I guess I don't know why, because I said a lot of stuff when we were there, especially in Berlin.
I don't know. Were you saying it on social media?
I wasn't saying it on social media. I was saying it at my live show.
Yeah.
That's probably why. And by the way, if you want to know who this guy is, that's the guy that Victoria Nuland was thinking about making president of Ukraine. Remember that? Isn't that Klitschko?
Was it Klitschko? Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah.
Well, he has a dinosaurian head, doesn't he?
Yep.
And perhaps most concerningly, I look to our very dear friends, the United Kingdom, where the backslide away from conscience rights has placed the basic liberties of religious Britons in particular in the crosshairs. A little over 2 years ago, the British government charged Adam Smith Connor, a 51-year-old physiotherapist and an Army veteran, with the heinous crime of standing 50 meters from an abortion clinic and silently praying for 3 minutes. Not obstructing anyone, not interacting with anyone, just silently praying on his own. After British law enforcement spotted him and demanded to know what he was praying for, Adam replied simply, it was on behalf of the unborn son he and his former girlfriend had aborted years before. Now, the officers were not moved. Adam was found guilty of breaking the government's new buffer zones law, which criminalizes silent prayer and other actions that could influence a person's decision within 200 meters of an abortion facility.
Criminalizes silent prayer. So that's literally criminalizing your thoughts. Those are thought crimes. You're not allowed to think things. Silent prayer.
It should have said it was to Allah. He would have got off.
He would have got off. Yep.
He was sentenced to pay thousands of pounds in legal costs to the prosecution. Now, I wish I could say that this was a fluke, a one-off crazy example of a badly written law being enacted against a single person. But no, this last October, just a few months ago, the Scottish government began distributing letters to citizens whose houses lay within so-called safe access zones, warning them that even private prayer within their own homes may amount to breaking the law.
What?
Why?
Naturally, the government urged readers to report any fellow citizen suspected guilty of thought crime. In Britain and across Europe, free speech, I fear, is in retreat.
Now, a couple parts about...
So let's listen. I think what Glenn has to say here is very instructive before we get to the crazy part from CBS News. But here's what Glenn says.
This passage. You could make the argument that this is an example of the United States government trying to interfere in the affairs of other countries. The Europeans have a much more constrained and constricted view about free speech than the United States does. And on some level, you can say that's their right. And why is J.D. Vance over there telling them how they should think about free speech? But the broader context here for the speech, as we're about to show you, was that the foundation of EU policy and EU foreign policy in the world is that the whole point of the US-EU relationship is that we promote our shared democratic values, our promotion of democracy. When in fact, the Europeans are constantly acting in undemocratic, anti-democratic ways by doing things like censoring the internet in ways that JD Vance just outlined, and by trying to simply overturn the outcome of elections in Georgia and Romania and elsewhere whenever they dislike their outcome. The very antithesis of promoting democratic values. Now, the other thing I want to say about JD Vance's remarks here, as much as I support them, obviously, for obvious reasons, is that some of the most extreme forms of censorship in European countries are those imposed against Israel critics. In Germany, in particular, not only did they ban pro-Palestinian marches while allowing pro-Israel marches, they have arrested enormous numbers of people, including German Jews, for giving speeches critical of Israel, for critiquing the war, for engaging in activism. They have not only Germany, but the UK as well, and France has.
So what Glenn's making the point here as he flips us off, the point he's making is that JD Vance is over there talking about their censorious nature, them canceling elections, them criminalizing thought. But he's not talking about the most egregious examples of that is that when they do that on behalf of Israel.
Yeah,
so,
well, JD said, I thought we all agreed, Europe, that we're going to do this, and all of us are going to have free speech, but not about Israel as a unit.
So they're okay with people. Look, he doesn't mention Richard Medhurst. JD Vance did not mention Richard Medhurst in that speech. He didn't mention the German Jews who are being arrested and charged with thought crimes because of the things they're saying about Israel and their genocide in Gaza. So so it seems to me that from Trump to JD to Hegseth to Pam Bondi to who's the FBI guy? But Kash Patel, they're okay with censoring certain speech, which is any speech that Israel doesn't like. So if Israel doesn't like it, they're going to say that's what it seems like, and so that's what obviously like? It's obviously why JD Vance didn't bring that up.
They'll crack down on a thing that's not violent, right? That's about Palestine, or some maniac will come and try to do a false flag thing. We've had a bunch of videos of that. And then when somebody who's Islamic stabs some innocent person, then they allow that to happen. We can't have regular protest that's not violent.
Right.
But we can allow them to stab you because then that'll stoke the local hate.
That's right.
For the Islamo-fascists.
That's
In fact,
right.
You probably forget all about Israel stuff.
That's right.
And you know what? We need a strong Israel to stop all this Islamo-fascism. Meanwhile, Israel's going to shunt them to your country.
That's right.
Take them out into your country.
Hey, the Democrats spent years forcing mandates and dictating how we manage our health. Now they're pushing back when we try to take control of it ourselves. That's why I'm reclaiming my own health with Field of Greens. I got to tell you, most people are obese. Isn't like 75% of Americans obese or overweight? Most people who died in COVID had 3 or 4 comorbidities. We're in bad shape in America. And America's confidence in healthcare has hit a 24-year low. But there's a new administration and change is on the horizon. But change takes time, and your health can't wait. That's why I'm taking control of my own health with Field of Greens. We all know eating healthy is the key to staying healthy, but life gets busy, and sticking to a perfect diet isn't always realistic. Field of Greens makes it easy. It's whole fruits and vegetables. That's it. And we could all use more of that in our diets, right? Just 1 drink a day, and I've got my healthy head start. It's whole fruits and vegetables. Every fruit and vegetable in Field of Greens is doctor selected for specific health benefits. There's a heart health group, a lungs group, kidney, metabolism group, even healthy weight group. And Field of Greens promises at your next checkup, your doctor's going to notice your improved health or your money back. You can't beat that. I got a 20% discount to get you started. Go to fieldofgreens.com and use my code Jimmy. That's fieldofgreens.com, code Jimmy. Come see us on tour. We're going to be in Baltimore, Hartford, Connecticut, Syracuse, Atlantic City, Levittown, New York, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.